Bibi's relentless multi-front war strategy devastates IDF forces. Over 10 troops crack under unbearable combat pressure, and counting. Inside Israel's unseen massacre, frontline IDF troops suffer complete mental collapse amid endless grinding wars on multiple fronts. Netanyahu deliberately turns blind eye to shocking reality of frontline stress, shattering his army's fighting effectiveness. IDF's frontline bloodbath reveals horrifying mental slaughter as war trauma claims devastating toll on Israel's exhausted soldiers. As Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to continue Israel's multi-front war, a major internal crisis is hitting the Israel Defense Forces, exposing a deepening mental health toll on its troops. An explosive report has revealed a growing mental health crisis within the IDF, with rising numbers of soldiers showing signs of severe psychological distress after prolonged combat. A report by the Israeli newspaper Haaretz exposed a sharp rise in suicides among Israeli soldiers, a worrying trend that has intensified as the conflict drags on across several battlefields. The Haaretz report indicates that nearly 10 soldiers have taken their own lives in recent weeks alone, underscoring how acute the situation has become within the ranks. Haaretz report said, and I quote, "At least 10 active duty soldiers have died by suicide since the beginning of the year, including 6 in April. 3 other soldiers who served in the reserves during the war also died by suicide this month while no longer in active service. 2 police officers, including a conscripted border police officer, also died by suicide this month." Unquote. Earlier data suggested that there were 22 soldier suicides in 2025, marking the highest such number in the IDF in at least 15 years and hinting at a longer-running strain. The report linked many of these cases to symptoms associated with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and depression, which often emerge after repeated exposure to combat. Rising suicide numbers come after extended deployments and difficult operations in the Gaza Strip, southern Lebanon, northern Syria, and other parts of the Middle East. The psychological pressure on troops reportedly intensified after the October 7, 2023 Hamas attacks and the subsequent large-scale military campaigns, which have stretched the IDF's human resources. Despite this, the Haaretz investigation claimed that some mental health support measures within the military were scaled back, even as demand for care grew. Earlier in 2026, Israel canceled the mandatory psychological debriefings for reservists, a move that has drawn criticism from therapists and human rights advocates. The newspaper reported that many soldiers returned from the front line without receiving any formal psychological evaluation, leaving their trauma to accumulate in silence. Anonymous IDF soldier said, and I quote, "It's simply irresponsible to send us home like this. They spend billions on munitions and interceptors, and they save money on this. It's like putting a band-aid on a bleeding main artery." Unquote. Some families of fallen soldiers have expressed frustration, arguing that the mental health system is inadequate to cope with the scale of stress soldiers are under. The strain comes at a time when Israeli forces remain engaged on multiple fronts, with ongoing operations in the occupied Gaza Strip, Lebanon, and along other borders, keeping the pressure on troops high. Despite a US-mediated ceasefire remaining in place, hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah continue across southern Lebanon. On April 30th, the Iran-backed group launched an explosive-laden drone directed toward Israeli territory. The drone, which originated from Lebanon, struck the Shamra community near Israel's northern frontier. Warning sirens sounded across parts of western Galilee as Israeli defenses responded to the incoming threat. The impact reportedly triggered a large fire, with several vehicles in the vicinity catching flames. The IDF later confirmed that the drone strike occurred near the northern town of Shamra. Hezbollah subsequently claimed responsibility for carrying out the attack during the early hours of April 30th. The group also stated that it had targeted an Israeli artillery position using a drone in the same operation. Reports indicated that 12 Israeli soldiers were wounded in the incident, including 2 with moderate injuries. The drone is believed to have struck an armored cargo vehicle, causing fires and secondary explosions from stored ammunition. Israeli forces are now examining whether the drone used fiber optic guidance, which is more resistant to electronic interference. Hezbollah further claimed that it targeted a self-propelled howitzer using another explosive-equipped drone. The group also stated that it had downed an Israeli Hermes 450 drone over southern Lebanon. The IDF confirmed that one of its drones was intercepted by a Hezbollah surface-to-air missile on April 30th. In response, Israeli forces launched a new round of airstrikes targeting Hezbollah positions. The military reported that several sites on Mount Dov were destroyed during a recent ground operation. In an official statement, the IDF added that its air force eliminated 5 Hezbollah members in southern Lebanon. Israel Defense Forces said, and I quote, Division 146 forces and the Air Force eliminated 5 Hezbollah terrorists who were operating near IDF forces in southern Lebanon. In addition, in 2 separate incidents yesterday, the Hezbollah terror organization launched several explosive drones toward IDF forces operating in southern Lebanon, south of the forward defense line. The drones impacted near the forces. There were no injuries to our forces. These are additional violations of the ceasefire understandings by the Hezbollah terror organization. The IDF will continue to operate to remove threats to the citizens of the State of Israel and IDF forces. End quote. An Israeli Defense Ministry civilian contractor was killed in southern Lebanon on April 28 while operating heavy engineering equipment near Aytaroon, close to Bint Jbeil. Another civilian contractor was wounded in the same Hezbollah drone strike while working in Lebanon, with Israeli reports identifying him as the victim's son. The IDF confirmed the latest casualty caused by Hezbollah in Lebanon, and said the contractor's family had been notified. Times of Israel reported, and I quote, the slain contractor, 44-year-old Omer Hujarat from the northern town of Shfarim, was operating heavy engineering machinery in the Aytaroon area, close to Bint Jbeil, amid efforts to demolish Hezbollah infrastructure. The explosive-laden first-person view, FPV, drone directly struck the excavator being operated by Hujarat, killing him. His 19-year-old son, who worked for the same company employed by the Defense Ministry, was lightly injured by shrapnel in the incident, according to Ziv Medical Center in Safed.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.